So very good evening. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining all. Yeah, so we were just waiting because some of the people were not able to connect their audios. I think now everybody has connected their audios. Good evening and thank you for joining this session with Direct Admission Group. So I am one of the subject matter experts and an MBA expert, particularly for UK. But then before me, I also have one of the student and also somebody who's our UK chapter head. We have with us Miss Ashmita. Hi, Ashmita, can you turn on your video and microphone?
Hi, Sanjam. How are you? Hello,
All
everyone.
well. Good to see you. I hope all is well. Let us know
Actually,
that
there's an amber alert
what is
today.
the time there so that our audience can also know the time difference.
Okay, so it's around 5.5 hours. During the summers, it's around 4.5 hours, and it's 12:12 right now. And the weather is really, really bad. There's an amber alert where I am right now. And on the coastal areas, there's a red alert for this storm Eunice. So, I mean, let's see how the day goes.
Oh, all right. Okay. So that's interesting to know. Well, I know that I've called you on a very short notice because we are having some very interesting queries from students nowadays because they're still a little skeptical. However, now that the lockdown has lifted and after Omicron, now that the wave has settled down a little, so I believe Europe, US has announced that there isn't going to be any third wave or anything of that sort. So I wanted people to know that how the classes are being conducted. I know that for sure that I have sort of requested you to come out from one of your projects. I think you have one or two projects going on. So I felt like it would be better for students to know how these education system and project works and how is it different from India and abroad. So I have a few specific questions that I've been getting from my students who are planning to study abroad, and particularly from UK. So, how about you first explain? How long has it been that you've started your program?
Well, so I landed on the 6th, but my program started on the 24th. So it's hardly been, I mean, this is my 4th week of academics here.
All right. Okay. So fourth week of your academic year. All right. Wonderful. 4 weeks. It's a good enough time to get used to the
True.
education system. It's a good enough time to get a hang of how things work here. I'm sure you must be aware that when are the exams going to be conducted, and if it's going to be conducted, how it's going to be conducted.
True.
So if you could, just draw a comparison between how the education system has been in
Yeah,
India
and
and what different kind of value you've gotten since your 4 weeks of academic time that you've spent here.
well, firstly, I think I would really like to point out is that here in UK, the professors they really focus on consistency because back in India, even during your school time, your undergrad, your masters, you could maybe miss a few classes and you could go for the next one and still understand a lot of things. However, here they have a lecture system and a seminar system. I'm sure a lot of students might be familiar with the concept of tutorials back at home. So the tutorials here, they need that the students study a particular reading. You go there and there's a very interactive session with the seminar tutors. And I think that's one thing. I mean, even if let's say you're sick and you're not able to go attend the lecture, but seminars are something that you really should not be missing. And in terms of assessment, things are very different. I mean, it was a it was a cultural shock for me as well because that's just not something that we face back home. So, in terms of assessment, you either have group projects. Could you please mute yourself? Thank you. In terms of assessment, well, you either have group projects, you have individual essay submissions, and there are sometimes, I mean, really depends on the course, what you're doing. There are exams as well. So I'm studying MSc Management at Queen Mary University of London, and I'm in the Jan intake right now. So my classes started on the 24th, and different subjects have different requirements, obviously. So I think group projects are something that is a very new learning experience once you come to the UK. Because even back in India, you have these group projects. However, they don't require you to go out of the box and think through things. Here, they will give you a topic. They do not expect you to go on Google, search it up, copy paste things, because they have this software called Turn It Up. Even if you've copy pasted like one line of it anywhere, if it's from a book, if it's from the internet, you need to mention the resources. I think that's something that's, all of us Indians here, me, my friends, other people in the class, they're all facing an issue with, because we're very used to just the copy pasting method from Google. However, that is something that just doesn't work here.
So I particularly picked up on one statement that you said. So here you will be assessed based on the group projects that you are assigned, right? So before I ask my next question, I'd quickly like to give just a brief of what has been going on, because I noticed that some of the students had joined midway while you were answering the question that I had asked. So hi guys. Yeah. So, so I noticed Tabasam and a few more people who had joined the session. So here we have Ashmita, who is one of the students of Queen Mary University, and she is at present also speaking from London. So she's giving her real-time experience of how it has been. Her journey started from the month of January, and now she has completed
January.
4 weeks of academic cycle so far, and she's just letting us know how she's been. What significant difference she has noticed between the Indian education system when you're going for a master's, because this is a second master's degree. And now she's gone to UK for her second master's degree. So she's just drawing a parallels between the two, and drawing a comparison. And what value can a foreign degree add to your current profile? So I'll just quickly give the highlights. The pointers which Ashmita said is that there is a so the lectures happen in two forms. India, we're used to the tutorial lectures that are conducted in the class. Here in UK, she's been experiencing lectures. Also, they're in the form of seminars. Am I right?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
So second, she also mentioned that here they are being assessed. The students are being assessed. The assessments are being conducted on the parameters of the group projects that they've been assigned to. And I believe you do not get to choose the people that you're supposed to work with in a project.
No. I think that's
Right.
the whole, good
Idea.
thing
Yeah.
about it, because you get it right. These are things that our professors also said that, I mean, I have no problem if you want to allot me in a group. However, once you're in a corporate, once you're in that world, people are not going to let you choose the people you want to work with. So, I mean, that's honestly a really good concept.
Exactly. So you cannot, it's that concept. There's a whole idea behind it. You cannot pick up the like-minded peoples who you are certain of that you're going to gel with easily. And I think that's the concept of the team building, the whole idea behind the team building concept. Because in a team of 4 or 5, usually it will not happen like, you will have the opportunity to work with somebody who's comfortable to work in a social group, or somebody. Everybody has their own working pattern. Everybody has their own leadership style. Everybody has their own motivational factors. And I think working in a group where you cannot choose the people that you want to work with, you sort of learn and cope how you can create harmony, and how you can, utilize each and everyone's talents. So I think that's
In
the
fact,
best part. Yeah.
Sanjam, I'd just like to mention a little thing. So, yesterday itself, I had a little presentation. So, I mean, there are different stages of a presentation that we have in every subject. So, it was, I'm studying the subject called entrepreneurship. And we had this presentation yesterday. It was a group of 5 that was allotted to me, including me. So, I was there. There was this another girl from India itself. She was from a marketing background. There were these 2 boys from Italy. They both had a finance background, and there's another guy from Peru, and he was from I think an accounting background. So honestly, it was a lot of fun, and I mean a major learning experience. When you're working with people from such different backgrounds in terms of their academics, in terms of their culture, you get to know such different opinions. Even while the presentation was going on, I mean, everybody had such different contributions for the professor. It was really fun to look at, and honestly, really fun to be a part of.
Correct. Absolutely. So that's again, I mean, a point to be noted down, because a lot of people think that going to a foreign university, the exposure that you're going to get is that you would just get to meet international people. Uh, Maybe when they go outside of the campus, or maybe they can interact in a class setup, they can interact with people. But actually, you get to work with them. You're bound to work with them. You
True.
are tied in a circle, tied in a group
Mhm.
that you're supposed to, your level of interaction and the times that you interact with is also increased. So I think that's again, yes, a huge I mean, it plays a huge role in, I mean, definitely helping increase, help to build up your profile and broaden your perspective as well. So that's one thing. Hmm. So guys, I would also want, I don't just want you guys to be a silent spectator to this session. If there is a need, if there is anybody who has a question, what they can do is, they can remember their questions, whenever any doubt, or whenever any thought comes into their mind, they can just note it down. I will be opening this session, I think during the last 10 minutes we can open up the round for the question answers, and if there is any question that we could answer, we'd be happy to do so. Ashmita, I'd also like to understand, are you able to find time? You mentioned that you're doing this project and you're also right now in the middle of a project. So, do you find time to do the part time work? And is it easy, like, to balance your academics along with the part time?
Well, I think it's really, I mean, it really depends on how you're seeing your academics. Surprisingly, I'm having a really good time. I'm enjoying all of my subjects here because here, I mean, the major difference, as I mentioned before, the sessions are very interactive. So, you feel the need to go through your readings right before the classes, before the seminars. And, once you're sitting in the class and the slides are going on, PowerPoint, feel like you're a part of something big because you're there. So it's a good feeling. So I mean, I think you have things beforehand. It's not impossible to take time out for a part. I've been working with DAG and I've been having a great time. I have a few friends over here who are also doing part in UK, like locally. So job opportunities in terms of part times would be the probably the hospitality working at this chain called Prita Monge. It's like a different version of Starbucks, I would say. They have a lot of things. They have coffees, they have croissants, sandwiches. So just like a grab and go sort of a coffee shop. Now, the pay also matters. I mean, it varies. So basically, I have this friend. She's working and she goes for these morning shifts. They start at 5 and they go on till I think 9 or 10 in the morning, depending on what classes she has that day. So they're very flexible. I mean, that's the whole point of having a part time, right? And she gets paid around £15 an hour, which is 1500 an hour. That's really not bad. And in an entire week, you get to work for maximum 20 hours on the student visa that you have right now, the tier 4 student visa. But then not everybody gets paid for 15 pounds an hour here. The minimum wage rate for an hour is around, I think, 980 right now. And a lot of people work at Zara, H&M as sales assistants, a lot of different things. So, I mean, in terms of opportunities, if someone really wants to work, there are plenty.
Yeah, that's a great insight, because a lot of people are very scared to this question whether there are going to be part-time job opportunities or not, and even if they are, uh, whether they'll be able to take out time between their academics and whether they can balance out or not. So you've mentioned 15 pounds, 15 Great Britain pound is something huge if they're getting it against just 1 hour of the work that they're doing, and I think they're allowed to do 20 hours per week.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you round it up, I mean, for a month also, that's a quite huge number. That's a pretty big number. And I think
Mhm.
this will easily cover up your living expenses, I believe, for a month. And I think this would also cover the cost of what, like you guys go out to eat, your leisure activities. I think this should pay it off, right? Right?
Well, an approx amount I would say for a month should be for accommodations. The minimum would be around 1000 to 1200 GBP if you're in a private accommodation. Every accommodation has a different weekly. So here it's not a monthly basis. They tell you prices as in the weekly, rents. They do not give you a monthly rent wage. So here, I think the average for every student accommodation, because my friends and I, we've all been staying in a student accommodation, considering that we're new here, we don't really know a lot about the city, and we're still getting to know a lot of things. It's safer. You get to meet new people from different colleges. In my accommodation, I've met people from so many different places, and I mean, I think it's just better than living in a flat where you're just in your own world. You don't get the opportunity to meet different people, because I think that's the whole point of coming here and networking with people from different backgrounds. So in terms of rents, I think 1000 to 1200 GBP would be an approx amount if you're going for a private accommodation. The college hostel accommodations are comparatively very cheap. They would be around 800, 7 to 800 a month GBP. And in terms of food, well, I think there's this. I'm not too keen on cooking. I do not like cooking at all. So there's this tiffin service that I got, and they ask you to pay around 150 a month, which is around 15,000, and they give you six tiffins in a week. Because I think a lot of us here, we're very worried when we're moving to a new place as to what we're going to eat, how we're going to eat. I'm sure a lot of you are vegetarians as well. So considering you're in a place like UK, the initial few weeks might be tough on people. So these tiffin services really help you out. I mean, a lot of students here take up these tiffin services, and the food's very simple. It's hygienic. You know the people who are delivering it to you. So, I mean, that's another great point that I think I would like to put across.
Well, that's great, because in India, I hadn't thought of this thing that even in UK, a system like a different system would exist in India. Sorry, in UK, because in India we're usually familiar with this thing, ghar ka
Mhm.
khana and tiffin service kind of
Exactly.
thing is
Mhm.
usually I mean something that we're all well familiar with. But something
Yeah,
of this would exist in UK is again a new information that you've shared.
that's true.
And I'm sure initial few weeks a lot of people would take time to in fact come to know about what are the stores that are available where they can
True.
get those grocery products, where they're getting the Indian grocery system. So I think it would take a week's time to get used to it and buy those the items that they need. I think that's a pretty great idea and a pretty great
That's
support
true.
system as well. So part time, everybody knows that they can look up for part time jobs. Everybody is
Mhm.
available, aware of the accommodation system that is
True.
within the college, the hostel and the dorm
Outside.
services provided, and
Correct.
outside private accommodations as well, which is also available. So,
Mhm.
all right, my question is, Ashmita, how can you go for a private accommodation if somebody doesn't wants to opt for student accommodation provided within the campus, within the hostel services? What are the other modes of accommodation if they want to go for a private accommodation?
Well, okay, firstly, I would suggest that, the student who is looking for an accommodation, for them to really think about what are their priorities, whether it's the location, whether it's the space as in the room size, whether it's a private bathroom, because there are a lot of different combinations that you get here. You might get an ensuite with no bathroom, you might get an ensuite with a bathroom but no kitchen. At the end, even if you're getting a takeout every day, you sometimes just want to do some sausages for yourself, maybe make an omelette. So, well, I was very clear that I wanted a studio. So I have a little hob here. I have my private bathroom, and I have this little space that's, entirely for myself. And I wanted a private accommodation because the student hostel accommodations, the college accommodations are comparatively really small. So let's say someone really is sure that they want to go for a private accommodation. You look it up, and even I can tell you a few websites. One is Unite Students, which helps students a lot. I mean, in looking for an accommodation, so you put up a query that these are my requirements, this is my budget, and this is the location that I want to stay in, because that's my uni. So they'll either call you up or they'll text you on WhatsApp that so and so, we're working, we're an employee with Unite Students. And I had this agent, and she really helped me out, and I suggested her to a lot of different people as well. Then there's Amber Students and London Housing. I mean, there are n number of options that you can go for. It sounds very scary, sitting in India looking for an accommodation, but it's really not that hard. What you see in the pictures is what you really get. That's one thing that I've really seen here. It's not like the Indian pictures. You'll see something, you'll get something else. That's not how it works here.
Hmm. Okay, again, a point to be noted. So when you mentioned some of these sites to for the accommodation services, what about the sites for the part-time jobs or even full-time job opportunities? How does the college supports you? I'm sure there is a long way to go. It's just been 4 weeks that you've started the program. So first, if you could, help the students who've joined the session today, what are the part-time? What are the websites that where they could apply for a part-time job, if there is any? For example, here in India, we have got Internshala, Monster.com. I'm
True.
sure, there must be a few sites there as well. And what about how does the college supports you for the full-time job opportunities after you complete your graduation?
Well, okay, I'll start with the websites. So the first, I think the most famous one would be read.com.
Okay.
And there are plenty actually, and I was not aware of this. There's Indeed, Read, you can download the apps for these as well, and it's very easy. You just download the app and you keep searching. So you put up a filter that, this is what I have, this is what I want. So there's another app called Job Swipe, then Up Careers. I mean, honestly, there are plenty of options if you really want to work. It's just you really need to be focusing on how to balance between your college and your work life. But I think that's something you eventually need to learn. So that's there. And what was the second question? I'm sorry, the
How,
college.
yeah, how does the college support?
Well, okay, the college does not really help you a lot in terms of the part-time jobs, but at the same time, it helps you immensely in terms of a full-time job. I just got into college, so I mean, I can't really give you an overall view as to how the college is helping me, but we've had a few orientations and they mail you. So there's this QM has their own page, SPM, which is the School of Business and Management. So you get mails, you get very regular mails from them called Careers and Enterprises. They send you these newsletters which have, these links for whatever jobs are available if you want to apply. And they have everything, the job profile, how much they're paying, and where is it. And then if you're willing to relocate, a lot of different things that are mentioned just in like 4 or 5 concise sentences. You click on the link, they redirect you to the website. And as a QM student, you apply. So I think in terms of that, the college really supports you. They have a lot of different, I would say, support groups as well for students who are facing issues academically, emotionally, in whatever way. I think the college really is there for you.
All right. So can we draw a parallel here? I think I sort of think that here in India, people are familiar with the concept of the placement cell, which exists in colleges, right? And it's a student-led movement where a student cell coordinator exists. Then there are members under that senior placement head. So that's a more labor-oriented work, I believe, because every year the person and the team tends to get changed. And here,
Hmm.
what you've mentioned is that it's more of a automated system. It's very auto-generated and
Hmm.
it's very AI based because they would send you the mails and newsletters, and it's very similar to the kind of mails that the placement cell would send you. Because
Hmm.
here also in India, when the
Yeah,
time for recruitment and placements is there, and when the recruitment and campus placement drive are being conducted, then students are getting receive mails
of me. True.
along with the job description कि ये title है, इतना compensation है, and there is this form you could apply for it and you can sit for the interview round. So I
Mhm.
think it's very similar. Just the difference is that they have removed the labor factor and
True.
they have made it very automated. So I think this works in favor of the students now because they do not have to depend on somebody's mood, somebody's level of productivity, somebody's level of effectiveness and efficiency in tapping out to the companies or health
That's
factors. If
hmm.
somebody is not if somebody is ill here, it would probably slow down the process for that time period. And here I think they have just made the process very very efficient in reaching out, and that's I think that's humongous. If just in the fourth week of your academic cycle, if you started to receive those full-time job opportunities, because I think people consider कि बाहर शायद इतना support नहीं मिलता है. So again, ये तो बहुत ही बड़ा point है, because people are always scared now that UK is offering 2 years of post-study work visa since it exited from Brexit. And if universities are supporting to such extent, then I think what else you need? I think you're
That's
covered.
true. And you know, another thing I would really like to point out that when the placement cell, I mean, they don't have a placement cell particularly, it's just a committee of people, and they do not disclose who the people are for probably confidentiality reasons. Yeah, probably confidentiality reasons. I mean, I'm not really aware of that. But the thing is, those people, they've been doing the same thing for years and years. Not every year is that, you know, they get changed and the committee gets changed. So everything has to build up from scratch. That's really not the case for these people. They've been doing the same thing for years, and that this has become their niche. This has become their expertise. So that's another thing that I think really helps the students. And it's not just here at QM, is almost at every university, because I have a few friends at LBS, I have a few friends at Westminster, and there's another university in the outskirts of London called Roehampton. So all of the students, I mean, all of my friends, they keep telling me that, you know, the support system here for the students is really backed up. That's something that you do not face back home. If you're facing, I mean, I hope none of us get to go through this phase, but once you move to a new country, a lot of students cope up in very different ways, and a lot of us might feel very low, very just, you know, not good for a few days, just not in a good mood. So there are these places, there are these groups as well inside the college itself. You don't even have to go out, you just go to the college, you sit in a room, people will come and speak to you. So I mean, mentally they really look after your health.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I think people are not aware that there are also, like in India, we've back here we've got clubs and societies. So even there they have that kind of system, and also they have. I mean, terminologies could vary. So I remember particularly for one Canada, one college of Canada, which offers this mentor slash mentee kind of a support, where for every incoming student there is one mentor or one steward assigned to that student who would walk them through the entire process. So which is again very great, and I'm sure every university must have their own way and style of doing this. So what clubs and societies do you have at Queen's Mary University, or what opportunities have you had to participate in?
Well, so I think in terms of, in terms of societies and clubs, they offer anything and everything. You have different places. If you're into robotics, you go there. If you're from an engineering background and you want to get into that field, there are a lot of different, since I'm not from an engineering background, I'm still aware though that there are like 4 or 5 societies that conclude that, oh yeah, if you're from an engineering background and you want to enhance those particular skill sets, you come here. We'll teach you a lot of things. There's a particular Indian society here at QM as well. It's a group of Indian people who do a non-profit work for a lot of people here. So I mean, that's great too. And I mean, surprisingly, there's a niche society for a lot of places. There's a Moroccan society. There's a society. There was another one. I'm forgetting the names, but there are a lot of niche societies as well. There's obviously the dance, the music society, which is there. Then, as we have Enactus, even they have an Enactus. It's called differently. Again, I can't remember the name, but the concept is very similar. You have a group of people who come up with different business plans. You try to execute it on a small level. And another thing that really impressed me is that, let's say, two people come up with a business plan, and they take the college, the committee who judges and verifies these the business plans, real life situation as to how they're going to work in a real life situation. And a lot of people get money. So I think these guys, they've paid max to max 10 lakhs, I mean rupees, to people as a kickstart for their career, that if this is the
Wow.
business plan that you want to implement and you want to go ahead with, they pay you money. I mean, that's something that would never happen back at home.
Okay, so I'd just like to highlight on the note, because I think a few weeks ago I was attending this session of IIM Ahmedabad, where for the executive program, where they were saying that after they graduate from the VGPX program, the students who are not looking for placements and people who have some startup idea, they could pitch that idea to the college, and Ahmedabad would fund, I think, something that the figure was in thousands, it wasn't even in lakhs, and that was for
Mhm.
every year. It would be, I think, investing something around 40,000. And well, no offense, but UK here, they have so far spent 10 lakh rupees. So I mean, there's a clear
Okay.
difference, the kind of support system, I mean, in the kind of financial and the mental support system that you've said, how they care about their own students is amazing. And also this can be drawn with the fact that India, we are not aware of the concept of scholarship so much because endowment system does not exist in India. However, on the other side, UK and US alumni, you also, after a few years, when you would become an alumni of so and so universities, I've noticed this a trend, and this is called the endowment fund, which is collected by the alumni of particular colleges, and they give that fund to the college so that the college can support the incoming students. And the fund which is collected is humongous; it's huge money, and that's why UK and US is known for giving out big ticket size scholarships. So I think the way it supports its students is amazing. I am totally impressed and amazed by it. So I think the conclusion that we draw from this session is that there are part-time work opportunities available. And I think all of your friends have been placed less than 1 or 2 weeks span that they've been there.
That's true.
Full-time job opportunities, colleges provide you complete support system for that as well, and there are different clubs and societies. So these are the some of the conclusions. You've also shared websites like read.com, indeed.com, that they could go look for the part-time and the full-time job opportunities. So we're left with 1 or 2 minutes before the Zoom session. We can close the Zoom session. So I'd like to take in a few questions from the audience if there's any. You can unmute yourself, guys, if you have any questions. Or what I'll do is you can put the questions in the chat box to me, and I will be. I can put across. I can ask your questions or answer your question, however it works.
What is the average salary after MIM from Queen's Mary?
All right. So it varies, obviously, it varies for different courses. So what I read before coming and what I mean, so okay, during orientations, they don't really tell you that, this is the average package that you're going to get, because that's just something that these people do not focus on. The financial part of a course is something that they do not focus on, but I'll still let you in. And they do have it mentioned on their website as well. It's around, in INR, it's around 45 lakhs. So if it's about the return on the investment, you get it in the first 1 year itself. So I mean, I think that's great. But then that's going to vary for every course.
So I think you've shared for management, right? Particularly for management.
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
figure for management. I think again, a lot of people are very skeptical if they are going to get the ROI, because initially people are scared to be investing the kind of money. However, the cost that you're investing here is parallel to some of the courses that I mean,